By their very nature, historical mysteries are tough to crack. After all, people have been trying to solve them for decades, if not centuries, and they've got nothing but theories, some reasonable, others completely outlandish, to show for it. Eyewitnesses are usually long gone, key evidence has disappeared into the void of time, and in some cases entire civilizations have vanished without leaving so much as a written explanation. Maybe there was only one person who knew the truth, and they took it to their grave. From baffling ancient enigmas to chilling 20th century crimes, here are 15 unsolved mysteries that stunned the world in a way that still hasn't quite gone away. Number 15. How and why were the Olmec heads made? The Olmecs were pulling off engineering flexes thousands of years before the Maya or Aztecs rose to power. And their colossal stone heads, some nearly 10 feet tall and weighing up to 50,000 pounds, are their most jaw-dropping legacy. The first mystery? How they moved them. These massive sculptures were carved from volcanic basalt, more than 50 miles from where they were found. That's like dragging a full-grown elephant across the desert without wheels. Did they use wooden rollers, giant rafts, a network of temporary roads? Nobody knows for sure. Then there's the why. Each head has unique facial features, leading archaeologists to believe they're portraits of Olmec rulers. Some argue they could be ball game players, maybe ones who lost, but the leader theory holds stronger. Despite decades of research, we're still piecing together how the Olmecs managed these monumental feats. Until we crack it, their heads remain some of the most mysterious relics in Mesoamerican history. Number 14. What happened to Roald Amundsen? Some explorers vanished chasing glory. Roald vanished trying to save someone else. Amundsen was a legend, first to sail the Northwest Passage, first to reach the South Pole, and a towering figure in early polar exploration. But in 1928, he set out on a rescue mission for Italian pilot Umberto Nobile, whose Arctic expedition had gone horribly wrong. Amundsen's seaplane took off and was never seen again. Most believe his plane crashed somewhere near Bear Island in Norway's Svalbard archipelago. In 1933, fishermen briefly hauled up something metallic in the area, but it slipped back into the sea before they could recover it. A 2009 high-tech search also came up empty. Some wreckage from his aircraft was found soon after he vanished, hinting at a crash, but the exact spot and Amundsen's final fate remains unknown. Considering his life's work was braving the world's harshest conditions, it's almost fitting that his story ends in a mystery of his own. Number 13. Who was D.B. Cooper? This wasn't just average hijacking. No threats, no violence, just a guy in a business suit who pulled off one of the greatest disappearing acts in history. It was November 24th, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving. A man calling himself Dan Cooper, misreported as D.B. Cooper, boarded a flight from Portland to Seattle. Mid-flight, he handed a flight attendant a note. He had a bomb. His demand? $200,000 and 4 parachutes. Seattle authorities delivered, and Cooper released the passengers. Then, somewhere between Seattle and Reno, he jumped into the freezing night, wearing a suit and possibly a trench coat, with his ransom strapped to his body. He was never seen again. Did he survive? The odds say no. The jump was insanely dangerous, and in 1980, some of the ransom money was found near the Columbia River. But no body, no parachute, nothing else ever turned up. The FBI closed the case in 2016, but amateur sleuths, they're still obsessed. Some even believe Cooper was a trans woman named Barbara Dayton. But unless he or she left behind a confession, this is one sky-high mystery we'll probably never solve. Number 12. What happened to the light keepers of Flannan Isle? Lighthouses are supposed to guide people to safety, not become the setting for a real-life ghost story. But in December 1900, 3 men vanished from their post on Flannan Isle, leaving behind an abandoned lighthouse and a trail of eerie clues. A passing steamship first noticed something was wrong. The light wasn't shining. When a relief keeper arrived, the place was empty. The clocks had stopped, the beds were unmade, and the logbook told a strange story. The keepers had recorded a raging storm, but no such storm had been reported in the area. Outside, railings were twisted, equipment was scattered, and a giant boulder had been dislodged from the cliffs. The official explanation? A freak wave or sea spout had pulled them into the ocean. But why would one of them rush out without his rain gear? Legends have filled in the gaps. Supernatural forces, sea monsters, even madness. But the North Atlantic keeps its secrets well. Number 11. What was the English sweating sickness? A disease that came out of nowhere, killed in hours, and then vanished forever. Not exactly the kind of history anyone wants to repeat. Between 1485 and 1551, England was hit by 5 outbreaks of a mysterious illness. Symptoms started with chills and fever, then quickly escalated to violent sweating, dizziness, and delirium. Many died within a day. If you survived the first 24 hours, you had a chance, but you could catch it again and again. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, it was gone. Doctors at the time had no clue what caused it, and modern science isn't much closer. Theories include typhus, influenza, anthrax, and even a hantavirus, a disease spread by rodents. That last one might explain why it mostly hit wealthy households and academic institutions, places where well-stocked kitchens would attract rats and mice. It's been centuries, and still, no confirmed cause, no cure, and no guarantee it couldn't happen again. Number 10. What were the Nazca lines for? A desert stretches for miles, barren and empty, until you look from above. Then suddenly, giant shapes appear. Sprawled across Peru's coastal plains, the Nazca lines form massive geoglyphs. Animals, people, geometric patterns, and long, ruler-straight paths that seem to lead to nowhere. First spotted by pilots in the 1920s, these figures have sparked endless debate. Early theories claimed they were astronomical calendars, aligning with constellations or solstices. Others thought they were pathways for religious ceremonies. The latest research suggests a more practical explanation. The Nazca civilization lived in an extremely dry region, and these lines might have been part of rituals to summon rain. Some geoglyphs are connected to underground water sources, leading scientists to believe they may have marked sacred pilgrimage routes. Built over 1,000 years ago, they've withstood time, weather, and human curiosity. Their true meaning? Still up for debate. But the fact that they exist at all, that's the real marvel. Number 9. What does the Voynich manuscript say? The Voynich manuscript is the ultimate literary riddle, a book filled with indecipherable text, strange plants, and bizarre human figures. It has left historians, cryptographers, and code breakers completely stumped for over a century. Nobody knows who wrote it, where it came from, or even what language it's in. Some say it's a lost medical text, others believe it's an elaborate hoax. The text doesn't match any known script, and the illustrations are equally perplexing. Botanical drawings of plants that don't exist, celestial charts, and women floating in what look like alchemical vats. Carbon dating suggests it was written in the early 1400s, and it's passed through the hands of emperors, alchemists, and scholars. If anyone in the past ever cracked its meaning, they took the secret to their grave. Today, it remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Number 8. Who built Stonehenge? Stonehenge has stood for over 4,500 years, yet nobody knows exactly who built it or why. People once assumed it was the work of druids, but they came much later. Instead, evidence points to Neolithic farmers and hunter-gatherers who somehow moved massive stones, some weighing 50 tons, without modern tools or wheels. The site was built in phases, starting with an earthwork circle. The large sarsen stones were quarried locally, but the smaller blue stones came from over 200 miles away in Wales. How they transported them is still a mystery. Some think they were dragged overland, others believe they were floated along ancient waterways. Was it a burial ground, a celestial calendar, or a sacred meeting place? We don't know for sure. But whoever built Stonehenge pulled off one of the most impressive engineering feats in human history. Number 7. Who killed the Black Dahlia? Los Angeles, 1947. A woman's mutilated body is found in an empty lot. Her face was carved into a grotesque smile, her body cut in half, her insides removed. She is Elizabeth Short, later immortalized as the Black Dahlia, and her murder would become one of the most infamous cold cases in American history. The brutality of the crime shocked the nation. The LAPD had hundreds of suspects, but no arrests. Over the years, theories have pointed to Hollywood insiders, mobsters, and even famous artists. One of the most convincing suspects? Dr. George Hodel, a wealthy surgeon whose own son, an ex-homicide detective, became convinced his father was the killer. Others believe in a cover-up involving powerful men. But without solid proof, the case remains one of Hollywood's darkest and most disturbing mysteries. Number 6. Where is Cleopatra's tomb? By now, you'd think we'd have found Cleopatra's final resting place. She was Cleopatra, the last ruler of Egypt, one of history's most legendary figures. Surely someone kept track of where she was buried. But nope. Over 2,000 years later, we're still guessing. Most experts believe she was buried in Alexandria, near her palace. The problem is that most of ancient Alexandria is now at the bottom of the Mediterranean. If Cleopatra's tomb was there, it's likely lost forever. End of story? Maybe not. Some archaeologists are betting on Taposiris Magna, a temple dedicated to Osiris, the Egyptian god of the underworld. Cleopatra was all about Osiris and Isis, so it wouldn't be crazy to think she and Mark Antony were buried there. And the digs have turned up some promising finds: gold-tongued mummies, burial chambers, even a 4,000-foot tunnel. But Cleopatra is nowhere to be found. If you think you can solve it, you actually can join the excavation. Just bring $21,000 and a lot of patience. Number 5. What happened to the Mary Celeste? The Mary Celeste might just be the ghost ship of all ghost ships. When the merchant vessel was found drifting near the Azores in 1872, everything was perfectly normal, except for one major problem. The entire crew was missing. No signs of struggle, no distress signals, just a seaworthy ship floating aimlessly in the ocean, with 6 months' worth of food and water still on board. Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, their 2-year-old daughter, and 7 crew members. Gone. Theories have been wild. Arthur Conan Doyle even wrote a sensational short story about it, renaming the ship Marie Celeste, which launched the mystery into legend. Mutiny, pirates, sea monsters, aliens, all have been suggested. A more scientific theory came in 2006. Some believe a pressure wave explosion caused by the ship's cargo, 1,700 barrels of industrial alcohol, might have panicked the crew into abandoning ship, but no one really knows. What we do know, the Mary Celeste is still haunting pop culture. Number 4. What caused the Great Unconformity? Imagine flipping through a history book and realizing 1 billion years of pages are just missing. That's exactly what happened in 1869 when geologist John Wesley Powell noticed that huge chunks of Earth's rock record were simply gone. And we're not talking about a little gap. 40% of Earth's history is missing in some places. Even weirder? This Great Unconformity shows up all over the world. not just in the Grand Canyon where it was first discovered. So where did all that rock go? One theory blames Snowball Earth, a time when glaciers might have scraped away massive amounts of rock. The other theory points to Rodinia, a supercontinent that broke apart and could have dragged layers of crust with it. Or maybe it was a mix of both. Here's the real part. Some scientists think that whatever happened, it might have played a role in kickstarting complex life. If true, this isn't just some missing rock. It's a clue to how we got here in the first place. Number 3. Was King Arthur real? The name is everywhere. Camelot, Excalibur, the Knights of the Round Table. But for all the stories, one big question remains. Was there ever a real King Arthur? The first whispers come from early medieval texts, 6th century Welsh poetry that mentions a warrior named Arthur. But actual records? The first written account of his battles didn't appear until the 9th century, when he was described as a war leader who fought 12 battles against the Saxons, including one where he supposedly took down 900 men by himself. Seems a little much. By the 12th century, Geoffrey of Monmouth had transformed Arthur into a conquering king, ruler of Britain, and leader of knights on heroic quests. That's the Arthur everyone knows. But is he real? Probably not in the way the legends suggest. More likely, Arthur was an early British war leader, later exaggerated into something larger than life. A myth? Maybe? A legend? Well, he definitely was. Number 2. Rainbow clouds. Few things in the sky look as otherworldly as rainbow clouds. When they appear, some people feel like they're witnessing a supernatural event, while others fear they signal something ominous, a portal to another dimension, or even the end of the world. In reality, these vibrant, shimmering clouds are a natural yet extremely rare weather phenomenon called cloud iridescence. This effect occurs when tiny water droplets or ice crystals scatter sunlight, causing a vivid display of colors that look even more striking than a traditional rainbow. Unlike rainbows, where colors form in a predictable arc, iridescent clouds create unpredictable shifting patterns, making them all the more mesmerizing. These formations don't last long, and only a lucky few ever get to witness them. A recent sighting over Haikou, China left the internet stunned, a reminder that Earth is full of wonders we still barely understand. Number 1. How will life on Earth end? For 4 billion years, life on Earth has survived asteroid strikes, supervolcanoes, and mass extinctions, but nothing lasts forever. The question isn't if life on Earth will end, but how and when. NASA says an asteroid impact like the one that wiped out the dinosaurs is unlikely for at least 100 million years, but other threats loom closer. Deoxygenation, a process where the oceans lose oxygen, has already started. This happened before, during the Ordovician mass extinction, wiping out 80% of life. Rising temperatures could accelerate this, leaving humans struggling to breathe. Then there's quantum computing, AI, and bioweapons, technologies advancing at terrifying speeds. And let's not forget gamma-ray bursts, cosmic explosions that could wipe out Earth's atmosphere instantly. Life will end here eventually. The only question is, how much time is left? Well, let us know your theory in the comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you very soon.